Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks, each rock representing your regrets, fears, and past mistakes. Now, imagine the weight disappearing, feeling lighter, free, and at peace. This is the power of letting go. But how do we do it? How do we silence our inner critic, break free from negativity, and finally move forward? In today's video, we'll explore Trenton's book, The Art of Letting Go, revealing the psychological strategies and mindset shifts that will help you embrace emotional freedom. Stay with me till the end, because these insights might just change the way you look at life forever. Chapter 1. The Art of Letting Go. The journey of letting go is not about forgetting or ignoring. It is about releasing what no longer serves us so we can make space for growth, peace, and clarity. But why is it so difficult? Because our minds are wired for attachment. We cling to past mistakes, toxic relationships, and self-defeating thoughts, often without realizing it. A fundamental principle that helps in this journey is the dichotomy of control, a Stoic philosophy that teaches us to differentiate between what we can control and what we cannot. This distinction is crucial because so much of our suffering comes from trying to control the uncontrollable. Imagine preparing for an important job interview. You can control your preparation, researching the company, practicing answers, and dressing appropriately. However, you cannot control the interviewer's mood, the difficulty of the questions, or the outcome. By focusing on what is within your power, you minimize anxiety and maximize effectiveness. Similarly, in relationships, we cannot control how others feel or behave, but we can control how we respond. Instead of exhausting energy trying to change someone, we can shift our focus to setting boundaries and taking care of ourselves. Another essential concept in letting go is non-judgmental thinking. Our minds are constantly evaluating good or bad, right or wrong, success or failure. This judgmental mindset often traps us in unnecessary emotional turmoil. When we observe our thoughts without labeling them, we create space between ourselves and our emotions, allowing us to respond with greater clarity. For example, if you made a mistake at work, instead of thinking, "I'm so incompetent," you could reframe it as, "I made a mistake, but I can learn from it." This simple shift removes self-condemnation and encourages growth. The last key principle in this chapter is self-distancing. When faced with an emotionally charged situation, we often get caught up in our immediate feelings. Self-distancing allows us to step back and view the situation from an outsider's perspective. A powerful technique is to ask, "What advice would I give a friend in this situation?" This mental shift often brings clarity and reduces emotional overwhelm. Consider someone going through a breakup. Their first-person perspective is filled with pain, regret, and what-ifs. But if they were to advise a friend in the same situation, they would likely offer words of comfort and encouragement rather than self-blame. Applying this technique to oneself fosters resilience and emotional balance. Letting go is not about ignoring problems, but about adopting a mindset that prevents unnecessary suffering. When we focus on what we can control, observe thoughts without judgment, and step outside our emotions for a clearer perspective, we begin to free ourselves from mental burdens that hold us back. Chapter 2. Breaking the Chains of Negativity. Negativity is often an invisible chain that keeps us stuck in unhealthy patterns. It shows up in the form of self-doubt, criticism, perfectionism, and external influences that shape our mindset. The first step to breaking free is identifying these negative influences and actively working to replace them with healthier perspectives. One of the most destructive forces in our minds is the inner critic, that nagging voice that constantly tells us we are not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. This voice often originates from past experiences, societal pressures, or critical authority figures in our lives. To combat this, we need to practice self-compassion. Instead of letting the inner critic run wild, we can consciously counteract it by acknowledging our strengths and treating ourselves with the same kindness we would offer a friend. If your inner critic says, "You'll never succeed," counter it with, "I am learning and growing every day." If it says, "You always mess things up," remind yourself, mistakes are opportunities for growth. A common mistake people make is equating perfectionism with excellence. While striving for high standards can be beneficial, perfectionism is a toxic mindset that leads to procrastination, burnout, and self-sabotage. A healthier alternative is excellentism, doing your best while accepting that imperfection is part of the process. Imagine a student who avoids submitting assignments because they're never perfect. This fear of imperfection prevents them from progressing. Shifting to excellentism allows them to do their best without fear of falling short. Another major influence on negativity is the media we consume. The news thrives on fear. Social media promotes unrealistic comparisons, and online spaces can be filled with toxic interactions. Curating your media consumption means being intentional about what you expose your mind to. If scrolling through social media makes you feel inadequate, take a break or unfollow accounts that trigger negative emotions. Replace them with content that inspires and educates. If the news makes you anxious, limit your exposure and seek out positive sources of information. Your mental diet is just as important as your physical diet. What you feed your mind shapes your outlook on life. Breaking free from negativity is about awareness and intentional change. By quieting the inner critic, embracing progress over perfection, and controlling the information we consume, we create a mental environment that fosters peace, confidence, and well-being. Chapter 3. The Growth Mindset. Our mindset is the lens through which we view challenges, setbacks, and successes. A fixed mindset keeps us trapped, believing that our abilities, intelligence, and potential are static. A growth mindset, on the other hand, allows us to see obstacles as opportunities for learning and self-improvement. This shift in perspective can be life-changing, not only in our personal lives, but also in our relationships, careers, and emotional well-being. Embracing change. Change is inevitable, yet we often resist it out of fear of the unknown. The key to letting go and growing is to embrace change rather than fight it. Life is constantly evolving, and those who adapt thrive. When we resist change, we hold ourselves back from opportunities that could lead to personal growth and transformation. Imagine losing a job. A fixed mindset sees this as a failure, while a growth mindset sees it as an opportunity to develop new skills, explore passions, and perhaps find a better career fit. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, a person with a growth mindset will seek ways to enhance their knowledge, take on challenges, and use setbacks as stepping stones toward future success. A great way to ease into change is to reframe fear as excitement. Instead of thinking, "This is scary, I don't know what to do," tell yourself, "This is new and exciting, and I will figure it out step by step." Fear and excitement are closely related emotions. It all depends on how we interpret them. By shifting our perception, we can embrace uncertainty and look forward to the possibilities ahead. Brain dumping. Declutter your mind. One of the most effective tools for mental clarity and self-reflection is brain dumping. The practice of writing down every thought in your head without worrying about structure, grammar, or coherence. Our minds are constantly racing with ideas, worries, and emotions, which can create unnecessary stress and overwhelm. Brain dumping provides an outlet for these thoughts, allowing us to process them effectively. When your mind is cluttered with worries, responsibilities, and ideas, it's like having too many tabs open on your computer. Brain dumping helps clear mental space, making it easier to process emotions and make better decisions. Try this. 1. Set a timer for 10 to 15 minutes. 2. Write down every thought that crosses your mind, big or small, important or trivial. 3. Don't filter, edit, or judge what you write. 4. Once done, read through it and highlight key insights. This simple exercise can help identify patterns in your thoughts, recognize self-limiting beliefs, and create action steps for moving forward. It also serves as a powerful tool to release mental burdens and gain a greater sense of control over your emotions. The power of yet. A simple yet powerful phrase to cultivate a growth mindset is adding yet to your self-doubt statements. This technique reprograms the brain to see challenges as temporary rather than permanent. Instead of saying, "I'm not good at public speaking," say, "I'm not good at public speaking yet." This small shift opens the door for progress rather than closing it with self-doubt. It reminds us that improvement is always possible and that abilities can be developed over time. When we adopt this mindset, we become more willing to take risks, push beyond our comfort zones, and learn from our failures. When we develop a growth mindset, we see life's challenges as stepping stones rather than roadblocks. By embracing change, decluttering our thoughts, and using small mindset shifts, we pave the way for continuous self-improvement and resilience. Chapter 4. Psychological Strategies for Letting Go. Letting go isn't just about emotional willpower. It requires psychological strategies that help us process, reframe, and release what no longer serves us. Here are some of the most effective techniques. Letting go of negative self-scripts. We all have internal stories that shape our self-perception. These self-scripts, like, "I'm not lovable," "I always mess things up," or "I'll never succeed," become self-fulfilling prophecies unless we challenge them. Think of your mind like a radio station. If you keep tuning into the "I'm a failure" station, that's the message you will hear repeatedly. But what if you switch to a new frequency? A station that says, "I am learning and improving every day." To rewrite negative self-scripts. 1. Identify them. Write down the negative thoughts you repeat about yourself. 2. Question their validity. Ask, "Is this always true? Where's the evidence?" 3. Reframe them. Replace them with balanced, empowering beliefs. Externalization. Seeing the problem outside of yourself. In narrative therapy, externalization is a technique that separates a person from their problem. Instead of saying, "I am anxious," try saying, "I am experiencing anxiety." This small change creates psychological distance, making emotions feel more manageable. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack labeled anxiety. Instead of saying, "I am this backpack," realize that you are simply carrying it, and you can choose to set it down when needed. Visualization for emotional release. Visualization is a powerful technique for letting go of emotional baggage. Try this. 1. Close your eyes and imagine placing your worries inside a balloon. 2. Picture yourself releasing the balloon into the sky, watching it drift further away until it disappears. 3. Breathe deeply, allowing a sense of relief to take over. This practice trains the brain to associate letting go with freedom and lightness, making it easier to release emotional burdens in real life. By implementing these psychological strategies, rewriting self-scripts, externalizing problems, and using visualization, we build the mental resilience needed to let go and move forward. Chapter 5. Moving Beyond the Hurt. Letting go isn't just about thoughts. It's about relationships, past wounds, and emotional burdens that weigh us down. True emotional freedom comes when we learn to move beyond hurt, break free from toxic people, and embrace forgiveness. Breaking free from toxic people. Toxic relationships drain our energy, self-esteem, and happiness. But why do we stay in them? Fear of being alone. Hope that the person will change. Emotional dependence. The first step to breaking free is recognizing toxic patterns, manipulation, guilt-tripping, emotional unavailability, or constant negativity. Once identified, establish firm boundaries by limiting interaction, speaking up for yourself, or, in some cases, walking away entirely. Think of toxic people like anchors tied to your feet while trying to swim. The longer you stay attached, the harder it is to stay afloat. Learning to forgive for your own sake. Forgiveness isn't about excusing someone's actions. It's about releasing yourself from the burden of resentment. Holding on to anger is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. One technique is the forgiveness letter. 1. Write a letter to the person who hurt you. 2. Express everything you feel: anger, sadness, betrayal. 3. End the letter with, "I release you. I free myself from this pain." 4. You don't have to send it. This exercise is for your healing, not theirs. Perspective taking, seeing the bigger picture. When hurt, we often get stuck in our own pain. Perspective taking allows us to step outside ourselves and consider, what might have led this person to act this way? What lessons can I learn from this experience? How does holding on to this pain serve or harm me? This practice doesn't justify wrongdoings, but it helps us detach and move forward with a lighter heart. Moving beyond the hurt is about setting boundaries, embracing forgiveness for our own peace, and shifting perspectives to see the bigger picture. By doing so, we reclaim our emotional freedom and step into a future unburdened by the past. Letting go is an ongoing practice, not a one-time event. It requires self-awareness, mindset shifts, and daily habits. Which of these techniques resonated with you the most? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video valuable, give it a like, share it with someone who needs it, and don't forget to subscribe for more life-changing book summaries. Until next time, keep growing, keep learning, and most importantly, keep letting go.